Welcome back. We have day two of our energy challenge. And today I wanted to talk about food. And sometimes this seems like it should be easy. But the reality is sometimes we have cravings for food and we enjoy food that's not always good for us. And this can drastically impact our energy. So when we sort of start thinking about food, I don't you might hear it in diets, you cannot eat this particular food. And we try to not coach that. We try to coach more on the spectrum of eat these particular foods more often, eat these particular foods less often. But I actually really want to encourage you to start thinking about how you feel after eating certain foods. So, sometimes we say this is kind of a no brainer, but, highly processed foods, things with a lot of sugar can give you that spike in energy and then the drop. Things that just don't have a lot of substance, potato chips, pastries, things like that. But also on a bigger scale, we may have food sensitivities that we don't realize that we have. For some people, that might be dairy. For some people, it might be red meat. For some people, it might be shellfish. Um, it's kind of an interesting thing. So while we kind of know that high processed foods and simple fast foods kind of make us feel sluggish and tired and things like that, sometimes we don't realize that things like dairy or things like red meat or other types of food also may not impact us in the best way. And the challenge is it is different for everybody. We all do react to foods a little bit different. For instance, I have a client that struggles with type 2 diabetes that, blueberries, which can spike insulin in some people, don't impact her. So it's kind of like learning a little bit about your own body. And while we know sugar impacts all of our bodies, some of us are impacted, more than others. It's just like maybe you have a friend that can have a cup of coffee late at night and be totally fine and go to sleep, whereas you may not be able to have a cup of coffee at night or you're up for hours and hours and hours. So it just shows that our bodies are all very different. So for today's energy challenge, and it's hard to do in kind of one day, but I want you to sort of think of what foods actually fuel your body and energize your body, and what foods drain your body. And maybe you actually haven't even stopped long enough to consider it, or you're just kind of like, well, these tend to be healthy foods, or these are my go to foods, or these are the foods that I purchase on a budget. But I want you to really start kind of thinking, okay, after I ate this, this is how I felt. And sort of start guessing and testing what actually makes your body feel good. We know lean proteins, vegetables, some fruits, you know, complex carbohydrates really do fuel our bodies. But some of us don't know some of these sensitivities, not insensitivities, sensitivities that do impact us and cause us more fatigue or brain fog. And the hard part is it is different for everybody. So I want you to kind of start looking into that today. You can sort of follow the email about, we know processed food, not the best choice for us and can often leave us really tired. And we know, certain foods are really good for us, but on your own, is there things that you can do to sort of start figuring out like my body actually doesn't react to this well? And you know what? It is different for everybody. And it is a little bit of a guess and test. Maybe you get heartburn. Maybe you just get like cramping or bloating or things like that with wheat. Everybody's a little bit different. So I challenge you today to kind of start writing down the foods you eat, and a couple hours later, write down how you felt. And maybe you feel fantastic, and that's great. Those are the kind of foods we want to eat. But maybe there's some of your go tos that are actually making you feel a little more sluggish than you thought. So that's what I want to challenge you with today. If you need any support, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer questions at any time.